This to my discussion on the new TV spot for The Force Awakens. Now, it's 99.9% of it is all footage we've already have seen from the previous two trailers, except for one shot. And it's of a dark figure with look like higher ranking officer, well, not higher than him, but like other higher ranking officers behind him, looking over a gigantic fleet of the First Order. Now, I think it looks like Kylo Ren. The guy behind the mask, behind the back, certainly looks like Adam Driver. Or it could be Andy Serkis. You never know. But it's interesting. So let me show you this shot. Take a moment. So that's the shot of, you can see 1 minute right there, the guy looking over his fleet of destruction. And, you get a Nazi influence with the red flags. I think that's a really interesting touch. Also kind of Fire Nation esque of the flags. It kind of reminds me of the Fire Nation from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So it's interesting shot. So coming back here. So that's a new shot from the thing, and that's really cool. That's something I like for my screensaver. But it's very compelling shot because you get the vastness of the First Order. You get to see how much power this, I'm guessing, is probably the leader in front there. It looks like Hoth, but it's probably not. Kind of like how that one planet looks like Tatooine, but it's Jakku. So yeah, it's really, it could be Hoth, you never know. But anyway, looks more mountainous than Hoth, but it could still be Hoth. It's interesting. Now I have a theory on the First Order. Kind of dawned on me today, and I kind of want to discuss this. But I'll talk about this shot a little bit more. Now the shot looks very again, it shows the vastness of of the army. The leading figure is either, I think, Kylo Ren or the guy ahead of him, which is it's rumored, it's not confirmed, that it could be Andy Serkis. He plays like some type of Emperor Palpatine esque figure who is in charge of everything, and probably is, some people think, is an ancient Sith, similar to my original Kylo Ren theory. Maybe like an older Sith, like maybe it's Darth Plagueis who resurrected himself. But I looks more like Adam Driver, so I'm gonna go with him. Man, is that so cool! I just again, the red flags give me. It looks like it's gonna be very Third Reich-esque. Also, it kind of reminds, again, like I said, I'm just repeating myself. It reminds me a lot of the Fire Nation from Avatar: Last Airbender. My guesses are the ending climax will be at this First Order base on the snow planet, and we'll get a lightsaber battle in the snow. 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, where we had it in boiling lava, it's going to be the complete opposite, where it's going to be in freezing cold snow. So that could be cool. So again, my theory on what the First Order is. Now, first of all, closing thoughts on the shot. I think the shot looks great. It has very deep sense of dread, because it's kind of saturated colors of the First Order, and it's very reminiscent, I think, of the Empire, and I think it's a great shot. It really has a lot of emotion of the vastness of what this evil organization feels like. So I think it's a great shot. Conveys a lot of emotion. Now, my theory on the First Order is that they're actually not the Empire. Here it is. Okay, what I think is actually the Empire did fall after Return of the Jedi. Everyone was sent to prison, so on and so forth. And then the rebellion took control of the star systems. Now, my theory is it's not necessarily Luke or anyone else, or Han or Leia or any of our loved characters from the original trilogy. I think the rebels got so big and so vast after they destroyed the Empire that, well, the rebels, maybe there's some people that thought, like, maybe the rebels should end after the Empire, but maybe there are some people in control of the rebellion who kind of like, maybe we should, like, remember in Legend of Korra, I keep referring back to Avatar, how after Zahir made everything chaotic, they had to bring in Kuvira and her associates to help restore balance and control in the Earth Kingdom. So I think that could be something very similar to what is happening in this. So maybe the rebellion brought it upon themselves to secure order in the galaxy after the Empire fell, because after the Empire fell, a lot of the planets were under the jurisdiction of the Empire, so it's like their government, and pretty much their government fell, and they're looking for new leaders to lead them, and so the rebellion is like, hey, we can take that up, and like, I'm not saying this is true, it's just a theory, we could take this up and like, help them restore, order and be, get maybe their own government going, we can, watch over them while that's happening. What if the rebellion became corrupted? Like after like maybe Luke and Han and all of them like retired, while the rebellion was watching over them, maybe it's taken many years to restore balance back after the Empire fell. Maybe in some ways Empire falling could have been bad for some planets, so they had to, because it was like their government, so they have to. So, like, the rebellion is pretty much their stand-in until they get things on their feet. I believe that maybe either, or Han and Luke and Leia could have still been in the Empire while it was being a little bit dictated, while it was being controlled, and, like, it started to become corrupt. And they kind of like wanted nothing to do with it and tried to destroy it, but they ended up, the rebellion turning on Luke, Han, and Leia, and because when things get a lot, the rebellion has so much power because they're trying to help these planets restore balance. They have so much power that they're slowly get greedy and like control, and so they want to control the universe. And so the rebellion actually turns into the First Order. And you're thinking to yourself, well, the First Order is very Empire-esque. Like, maybe they have adapted to their ways. Like, maybe, like, because they want, maybe some planets are like, we want the way it was with the Empire because we're a mess now. The Empire pretty much, was even though it was a dictatorship, Empire is probably communistic, I'm guessing. I mean, they're evil. They're probably like, but we still need a government to control how we deal with our politics, how we deal with, trade and trade federation and foreign things, and, so we can live. And so when the rebellion, so maybe they're like, we needed to be more like the Empire, some of these planets. And so the rebellion, which becomes the First Order, adapts back to the Empire. So the rebellion ends up becoming the Empire, and so on and so forth. Adapts the clone trooper army style. It's not exact, but it's a little different. It's their own take on the stormtrooper outfits. And the First Order becomes corrupt and communistic, and the Resistance is pretty much a group of people who were the original supporters of the rebellion, and when it got corrupted, they saw it become the empire, so they got groups of people, the resistance, to go after the formerly. That's why they changed their names to the resistance, because it's not the new rebellion, because rebellion is technically the first order. What if the resistance is there as from old people like Luke, who could have started a handful of resistance fighters. Han and Leia could have started a handful of resistance fighters to stop the First Order and bring things to the way the rebellion was originally supposed to have it, just there to destroy the Empire, not there to take over the galaxy and to destroy the Empire and not replace it. So the resistance is what the First Order or the rebellion was supposed to be, but it got corrupted because it gained so much control by taking over these planets' governmental systems. And of course, maybe Han, they had a friend, and this friend, quickly became like a head up in the rebellion. He's the one that made it corrupt because he liked the power, and that's when Han, Luke, and Leia left the rebellion and quickly became the First Order. And maybe, Kylo Ren, like I said, he could have been interested. I think that theory's kind of irrelevant from what we've seen. I think Kylo Ren is Han and Leia's son. Han and Leia, son, and he is obsessed with Darth Vader. He has the powers of a Jedi. He turns to the dark side, and is maybe he's one of the people. Maybe this happened when he was young, so when Han, Luke, and Leia were still in the rebellion before it became the First Order, maybe he was brainwashed by maybe he had friends, or maybe he had a guy who was like a second father to him, similar to Palpatine was to Anakin, and brainwashed his ideology into believing the way that the First Order does when he was a kid, because that's back when Han, Luke, and Leia were still part of the rebellion, which is before it became the First Order. Before it became the First Order, it was the rebellion, the formerly rebellion, and he was a kid, still part of it, and there's that place being around all these rebellion people who are adapting to more ways of the ideology of handling things like the Empire did, and it just brainwashed him. And so he rebelled against his parents when they wanted to drop out against the rebellion because of them becoming more like the Empire. He rebelled and thus stayed with the rebellion, which became the First Order. He's been around it a long time, and so he became a higher up. And he's kind of maybe he's shadowed by because Darth Vader is his grandfather. So that's why he's obsessed with the Sith relics, is he wants to learn more about the Sith, so he doesn't have to feel overshadowed by Darth Vader, and try to become more powerful and try to be more influential than Darth Vader. So that's my theory on Star Wars: The Force Awakens. God bless ya. See you later.